KFI and now Bryan Suits filling in for Meghan McCain. She'll be back tomorrow. My home base is KFI in Los Angeles. Of course, you know me as the author of What Was in That Empanada, as well as I Bring Nothing to the Table, One Step in Corporate Mediocrity. I also hosted Our Secret Place on KFI, which is America's premier counter-terror and war on terror, and how to keep your mouth shut if you have a security clearance, and how to not steal stuff and give it to WikiLeaks show. So we'll get to that a little later on. We're under the 48-hour mark for the Obama regime and the beginning of the Trump regime, and so we'll talk with Nikki Schwab from Daily Mail U.S. there at the bottom of the hour on that, and the next hour. Yeah, I think I've got an extended rant about the Chelsea Manning thing. The president held a press conference earlier today, his last one. And then also coming up here in a couple of minutes, we'll have Rick Santorum on, former presidential candidate and senator from Pennsylvania, on a couple different subjects. There was something near and dear to his heart that he's going to talk about the growing threat of Muslim terrorism for Europe in the Balkans, and it's something that he's recently become very impassioned about. So we're going to have him on about that. We'll also talk about the transition and politics and the rest of it. Here's my short version for next hour. The president commuted Chelsea Manning's sentence, but we'll get to that because I totally forgot to say. And before we know anything, let's check in with Bauer with what's trending in America now.
Bryan, former President George H.W. Bush has been hospitalized after experiencing shortness of breath, his office confirmed early today. Bush's aides said the 92-year-old 41st president went in as a precaution and was responding to treatment. Quote, he's fine and he's doing really well, Bush Chief of Staff Gene Becker said. Local media reported that Bush was expected to leave Houston Methodist Hospital in a few days. According to reports, that his condition has worsened over the last couple of hours. And additionally, Barbara Bush, Mrs. Bush, was admitted to the Houston Methodist Hospital this morning as a precaution after experiencing fatigue and coughing.
Did you see the letter that he sent to the Trump transition team about why he couldn't attend?
No, I did not see that.
This is why George H.W. Bush might be one of the greatest Americans of all time. Dear Donald, Barbara and I are so sorry we can't be there for your inauguration on January 20th. My doctor says if I sit outside in January, it likely will put me 6 feet under. Same for Barbara, so I guess we're stuck in Texas. And so he really wrote that.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. Very clear. There's no gray area about that.
He skydives.
That's right. In addition to that today, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange said via his lawyer that President Obama's commutation of Chelsea Manning's sentence does not meet the conditions of his offer to be extradited to the U.S. in return for the Army leaker's release.
Shocker.
I know, right? If Obama grants, this is the quote, if Obama grants Manning clemency, Assange will agree to U.S. extradition despite clear unconstitutionality of DOJ case. That's what they tweeted this year from WikiLeaks. However, according to a statement from his lawyer, quote, no bueno. I mean, that's not the quote. That's what I'm throwing in there. Mr. Assange welcomes the announcement that Ms. Manning's sentence will be reduced and that she will be released in May, but this is well short of what he sought, end of quote.
Yeah, and by the way, for the record, what he said was if Manning got clemency, he didn't say pardon, he got clemency, meaning somehow a relief of sentence, he would self-extradite to the United States. So the guy's a liar and a weasel and a vermin and a snake, like I've been saying, and so all of you, from Sean Hannity to whoever, there's your guy. There's your hero. The guy is a weasel, and he is not America's friend. Listen to Bryan.
Somewhere I imagine Sean Hannity has a very shocked look on his face right now, Brian.
Yeah.
And finally, Donald Trump supporters keen to purchase some of his unique memorabilia and merchandise ahead of his inauguration have plenty of weird and wonderful options to choose from. I'll get to a couple of them here. Russia already has produced a Trump-Putin memorabilia calendar that says Christianity, superpowerness, national ethos, which is very wordy for a calendar, frankly. I just think you put like 2017 Trump Putin and everybody's happy with it. You can also purchase Donald Trump hair socks. These are the hilarious socks that have a shock of hair that you can comb and flip just like the real Donald does. And finally, you remember Where's Waldo? Yeah. Now can you spot the Donald? An array of crowded scenes from building a wall around Mexico to carving his face into Mount Rushmore, at a Trump wrestling match, a golf course in Scotland, and having fun at the Tea Party rally. Search for Donald J. Trump amongst the masses. Just a couple of things that you can purchase if you're a Trump fan, ready for the inauguration.
Now, if you're a Trump foe, have you heard about those hats and what they're called? The pink hats?
No, what are the pink hats called?
You know, there's the Women's March. Or women, it's for all women except those who don't believe in abortion. And they're pink, and they call them the pussy hats.
Whoa.
Like pussycat.
Gotcha.
Because they have little ears. They're when you put them on, it looks like a cat. It looks like a Hello Kitty.
Gotcha.
But I rather think there might be a subtle, subtext to it. But yeah, so those are women all across the country. There's been a run on pink yarn, of course, in Seattle and San Francisco.
Yes, I imagine.
All of the delicate, safe space cities.
Again, subtle, very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's trending in America now, Brian.
Alrighty. So we'll get into it next hour. But already today, both yesterday and today, when the announcement was made that a commutation of Bradley Manning's sentence would be made. He's done 7 years, and I just, you know what, with all due respect to other people's feelings, I just got to tell you, in my world, if you have a unit, your name is Bradley, it's not Chelsea, and it's Caitlin, pardon me, it's Bruce, it's not Caitlin. When you commit, when you get it caught in the door, or you cut it off, or whatever, I will go ahead and call you Chelsea, all right, when you repurpose it. But so anyway, so Bradley Manning did 7 of 35 years, and then the president came out today and said, well, he was convicted, and he did his time, and he was sorry for it, and the whole thing. And yesterday, the usual suspects lined up, Huffington Post and Slate today, and they all said the same thing, which was it wasn't as harmful to national security as they said, or as we found out, or whatever. Completely missing the point. And I mean, I should say, before we get into this, that I enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve before the Gulf War, because I knew Saddam was about to invade Kuwait, so I was ready for that. So I fought in the Gulf War as a medic. I was an NCO. I went to the Balkans. I was commissioned after 9/11 as an officer. So I've taken 2 different oaths, oath of enlistment, oath of commissioning. As an infantry officer in Iraq, in Baghdad, 2004 and 5, I handled classified and top secret information successfully, meaning I didn't give it to anybody. And so I know what the hell I'm talking about. I also dealt with people who could not succeed in that environment. Or, for instance, people who missed a child support payment and have their clearance yanked. Folks, there's not a point in the system where you go, well, I didn't harm national security enough. That's like a bank robber getting $20 and telling the judge, well, it was only $20. You're still a bank robber. It's like someone robbing a bank and giving the money to breast cancer research. You're still a bank robber. So more on that next hour. You can tell I'm pretty impassioned about it. We'll be back with Senator Rick Santorum right after this on America Now. Bryan Suits filling in for Meghan McCain. Welcome back to America Now. Bryan Suits filling in for Meghan McCain. She'll be back tomorrow. Then on Inauguration Day, I'll be back in here for all the festivities. Let's bring him on board. Our guest, Rick Santorum. You know the name. Longtime senator from Pennsylvania. Served as U.S. Senator representing Pennsylvania, but the Senate's 3rd-ranking Republican. Now you see him as a senior political commentator on the CNN. Senator Santorum, thanks for coming on board today.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Hey, before we get to the subject, let me start with today's events. Off topic, we're going to talk about terrorism in the Balkans, but the commutation of Bradley Manning's sentence is that calculated to throw a monkey wrench and as a final final biscuit to its far left constituents?
Well, it's pretty clear. Let's just put it this way: Bradley Manning was Bradley Manning, not Chelsea Manning. I don't think he would be or she would be out of prison right now. I mean, this is clearly one of those things that is a combination of an appeal to the transgender community, very much an appeal to the hard left. I was sitting next to Van Jones, who was just over the moon that this quote whistleblower was released from prison. I mean, it's just and the idea that you call someone who's a out and out traitor a whistleblower is, again, it just tells you how disconnected the left is from the truth and from reality, and how they really can't distinguish between someone who whistleblows to damage America and someone who's whistleblowing because there's corruption or something that needs to be outed that government is doing.
Yeah, no, I just sat there saying back to the TV, that's why Trump won. That's why Trump won. That's why Trump won.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
But you're now someone who's interested in a subject that has been near and dear to me since I deployed to the Balkans in 1998-99, and that is the very unreported dynamic that's going on where terrorist training camps, terrorist cells, and literally terrorist families have been sitting there unmolested for 15 years, and no one seems to care or be doing anything about it.
Well, as we know, the World War I started in the Balkans, and we've had other major wars that have started in Europe, and Europe is beginning, as you see with the Brexit, and you're seeing with some of the other countries there, it's beginning to fragment again. It's beginning to be nationalism is beginning to rise. All sorts of things are beginning to happen that the press is covering, and they are covering the Muslim immigration coming into Western Europe and the problems. What they're not covering is sort of the heart of Muslim Europe, if you will, if you take Turkey as sort of on the edge of Europe, which is Bosnia-Herzegovina and the Balkans, and what is going on there that brought us into a war in the 1990s, which thanks for your service that you served in, but you're starting to see Turkey and Iran and some of these other countries fomenting and building a much more radical presence right in the heart of the Balkans, and there really hasn't been a whole lot of attention paid to that. You're seeing refugees coming in now and settling in that area who are clearly not pro-Western and have designs to start trouble in that region again. And as we know, that region can become a tinderbox very quickly. The president of Croatia came and visited the Congress. Actually, I took there and met a couple of senators, Senator Johnson from Wisconsin, Senator Rubio from Florida, and to talk with them. And they're both on the Foreign Relations Committee, and try to help sort of wave the flag here, red flag a little bit, saying, look, we got to pay attention to